Welcome, everyone, to the Outer Dimensions podcast with Dave and Dre, the channel where we discuss anything and everything when it comes to sci-fi, action, and horror, past, present, and future. Well, right now the future's on hold with the SAG strike, but hey, this week we're doing something a little different. Dre, why don't you tell the folks, the ladies and gentlemen, and mutants and aliens out there, what we are trying to do this week?
Wait, don't forget the doppelgangers, because we can't forget the who's and the what's it's and the whys and the dingle hoppers. So,
No,
folks,
he's been reading Dr. Seuss. Excuse him.
so this week we are doing something that's a little bit more fun and akin to what I've done on my personal channel, which is kind of like a top five list. But instead of a top five list, this is Dave and I getting together and fantasy footballing the Expendables. Yes, folks, we both had put our list together, and when we talked about a list, like Dave and I were spitballing lists back and forth for about a week, and then we took a couple of days because I was actually, like I said, at GalaxyCon, and Dave was doing some other stuff that he was busy with on the
He
whole
was
front.
flexing.
Oh no, I was not flexing, even though I had to still edit that footage and finish the footage for my wife with that. So that's a different story. But while I was there, it was funny because I was like spitballing in my brain what was my team and we had to come up with a scenario. So I couldn't think of one scenario. In figuring as the DM that I am, as a dungeon master, I come up with all these things all the time. I was like, well, let me make two different scenarios, and you guys are going to actually have to pick which team is best suited for which scenario.
That's right. You guys are going to have to vote via our YouTube channel, community tab, via Twitter, and who knows where else.
We can do it on Instagram too. We can actually put a poll on Instagram. I don't know how, but we can.
Not that kind of poll. Yeah. We can definitely do voting on all social media platforms. You guys are going to be the ones to decide it. Well, that is those who are watching the channel. Now, those who listen to us on podcast, by the time you hear this, the voting may or may not be closed by that point in time, but you can still check out our social media. But I will say this, in full disclosure, Drake came up with the plots. Okay. I chose my team without even knowing said plots. And after hearing the plots,
he's got a stacked team, y'all.
after
he
reading the
me.
plots, after reading the plot, I was like, okay, I'm feeling even better now, because I think I have a good team. I'm sure Dre thinks he has the team, but you guys are going to be the ones to decide it.
I think my team is balanced, but we're definitely not balanced in the way
about family.
Yeah, exactly. That's if you guys want to get a glimpse of my team, literally, it's about family. So we'll make that joke. You guys will see it when we get there. But hey, Duff man, it's good to have you in our chat, brother.
And by the way, do not fret. Don't worry. The cheat sheet still lives, because we had to create a cheat sheet for each of our members. The plots, and when I say members, I'm talking about the participants in the Expendables draft here. People, hey kids, hey, watch it. Okay,
we're semi family friendly. We haven't hit the after dark.
Semi family friendly. Is that trucks hitting? No, I'm not going there.
It's like Transformers. They don't cuss, but they do kill each other.
I can think of a few Transformers that might swear.
Yes, the cartoon, the 1988 cartoon.
Now, full disclosure, anyone who might have been living under a rock or in a wartime bomb shelter from the 60s, let's just give a quick explanation on what the Expendables, in case you don't know. The Expendables is an action movie franchise that takes our favorite action heroes, and they are kind of on a Dirty Dozen A-team, kind of a mercenary squad. And each movie, there's a few that may reappear and some they may not. Usually it's led by Sylvester Stallone. We got Jason Statham, Jet Li, and the list goes on and on. Bruce Willis has appeared in it. Schwarzenegger has appeared in it. I mean,
Terry Crews.
no, come on. Even Chuck Norris has appeared.
And he even makes fun of himself with his own meme.
Yes, he does.
Which was I said that when I saw that twice in the theaters, I died laughing. Like
after several grueling days, the snake finally died.
I was like, oh my gosh, yes. he made a Chuck Norris meme reference.
Yes. Well, I mean, if you're Chuck Norris, you can say anything and do anything you want, Oh
yeah, you can get away with that, and he did. And it was perfectly said.
The Expendables is kind of like one of those. It doesn't make sense. There's hardly any plot, but you get a bunch of action heroes, and you get some pretty memorable bad guys. Me and Dre'S talked about this off stage on previous episodes before about Steve Austin. He appeared in the first
I remember.
one.
Okay, so I remembered who it was. So
Eric Roberts.
Eric Roberts and Steve Austin were the villains in the first one.
Yes, they were.
The second one was Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes.
Villain. He was villain. I like that knife.
But he had a goat on his neck.
Exactly. And then the third one was Mel Gibson and a crew that he created, but they were like nobodies.
Yeah, but Mel Gibson was a partner with Barney, aka Sylvester Stallone.
Yep.
But you're forgetting in the first one, we have one person who switches sides a couple times. Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren, yeah, that's right.
Yep.
I forgot because I haven't watched that. I actually was supposed to rewatch before I did this. I wanted to rewatch it, but then I got excited because I saw the trailer for the fourth one. So I'm glad I didn't get delayed. Yeah, I have all three movies as well. I think my favorite one's number 2.
I'm expecting Jason Statham to take over. I mean,
no, they said the fourth one is going to be the last one. That's going to be Stallone wanted this to be like a franchise that doesn't go on without him behind the helm. Because we know in the third one, Bruce Willis wasn't in it because Harrison Ford took over. Because, Harrison Ford showed up again. I swear, he's been like the saving grace for Bruce Willis. And I don't understand how, but he is. So, and Ronda Rousey was supposed to be in it. She's not.
I mean, most of these guys you've seen in military action movies, whereas Harrison Ford, he was Indiana Jones, and he's been in The Fugitive,
Patriot Games.
No,
he was in Tom Clancy movies.
I'll take Dre. I'm trying to school you right now.
Oh, you're trying to? Okay.
Yes. Return to Navarone. Sequel to Guns of the Navarone.
Never saw those.
Well, Google it. You'll see it.
I had to put that on my list of movies to watch.
I mean,
I've been taking advantage of it.
This is like, I want to say early 80s, late 70s. Guns of the Navarone. You'll look it up. It's a classic war movie. So, but guys, you guys are not here to listen to us talk about classic war movies.
Jeez, we present 81 years old.
We present the one, the only, the cheat sheet.
We need to make an entrance song for that. Like, cheat sheet. Because it really is. The cheat sheet is like the cheat sheet. All right, give me 1 second and I'll get into the cheat sheet because I just was looking at this. All right, now I'm going to get back to my window. All right. So, folks, as always, the cheat sheet is the cheat sheet. It's the bomb ditty. It's the savior. It is everything that people like to imitate and copy, but yet it's the OG for this channel right here. So, as Dave is trying to find an entrance song for it. So, as Dave said, I created 2 different scenarios. So, this being a multiverse, as it is, loosely it always is. Let's go to page 1. The Mission. Lex Luthor. Kevin Spacey's Lex Luthor. From one of the worst Superman movies ever. Yes, I had to salvage the character. Has created a machine to travel the multiverse. And through this, the greed, the desire to bring 2 villains from alternate multiverses into this one. And thus he grabs 2. The first one he brought with him was Ultron. Yes, folks, Marvel's Ultron, voiced by James Spader. Ultron betrays Luthor and goes on about of creating an army similar to what he did in the Avengers, but here he doesn't have Chitauri armor. He has Luthor Corp tech. So you can imagine what access he would have had to Kryptonian armor and all kinds of nastiness he can create.
Kryptonite.
Hey, Aaron, it's good to have you in the chat, brother.
Colbane Games, KBG, the place to be. Thank you for popping through.
And now the other person he grabs. He went for, he knows of the Joker in his universe, but he doesn't want that one. He needs a Joker that's more sadistic, military trained, crazier than his own. And he found the late, great Heath Ledger's Joker in his multiverse. And he grabbed him out of Arkham. And now, here's the problem. The Joker is stolen the multiversal device for traveling and is looking to wreak havoc here in the present day. Which team of Expendables will be able to help and stop the Joker and Ultron? It is up to you guys to decide which team that we have made will win. Now, if you guys decide to put your own, you're more than welcome to drop yours in the chat. So let's go to the next page and talk about our leaders. Wait. There's a caveat. Dave, explain what you're going to explain, then I'll explain the caveats to why.
What I'm wanting you guys to do, we already have a post. We don't have a poll, but we have a post on the community tab. So I want anyone out there, if you want to choose your own team, I want you to comment your team. Because remember, we need to explain the rules. We have one leader, and then we have 7 members, so it's an eight-person team. Okay, you're allowed 2 super-powered beings.
From anywhere in the multiverse. Anywhere.
It could be Marvel, DC,
If they had a movie, you could have, as long as they had a movie.
I mean, you could have Blank Man, you could have Meteor Man, you could have,
Spawn.
Oh, that would be.
I didn't even think. I should have picked him.
I know what Dre's favorite choice should have been, because he loves Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider.
I love him, man. He's the best. Yeah, I could have chose Big Daddy too. He would have been a great one too. So obviously the rules are going to be as follows. Once we have chosen the character, now if they're an actor, I'll use Liam Neeson. So if I chose Brian Mills, which I did, right? That means Dave could not pick Ra's al Ghul, because I have now taken Liam Neeson off the board. Now, ironically enough, when I sent Dave my list, after he sent me his, we had only one crossover. And
which is pretty amazing.
Which I was surprised. I was very surprised, folks, that we only had one crossover, and that one crossover was Sylvester Stallone. And Sylvester Stallone was not my leader. My choice is Brian Mills. Now, obviously, we're going to explain to you all why we chose our leaders and why we chose our characters based on their roles in the movies that they were in. Now, Brian Mills, Taken film series. Let's be real. I'm going to say it just like this. He has a set of skills. He can find anyone.
A particular set of skills.
Exactly. And he will find you. And the amount of resources he had, the amount of crazy things, and the military level of skills he had proved that I needed him to be the leader, that he could run a group of misfits from all calibers.
Well, technically speaking, I mean, aside from Brian Mills, he was also Hannibal in A-Team.
I know, but see, the reason I chose, if I would have taken Hannibal's a different beast altogether.
Yes. And
I felt like A-Team was more geared as a remake from a television show, where Taken is Luc Besson, and I love Luc Besson because he did another movie another character I chose besides Transporter. He did The Raid 2, and he's doing The Raid 3. So, and the other character that will show up in my list. So, Brian Mills from Taken was just an easy, simple choice for me as a leader. Now, obviously, Dave chose.
I chose John Rambo, Sylvester Stallone, John Rambo. Now, this is, I mean, far as I'm concerned, John Rambo he's the only choice there was for me. Okay, yeah, I could have went GI Joe movies and chose Duke or something, but no, we had to go with John Rambo because
Tatum. Hell no.
Well, no, just the character of Duke, just the essence of Duke. But to me, it was always going to be John Rambo. Now, when we had our conflict, my second choice was actually going to be Chuck Norris.
Yeah, I know he sent me that, and I was like, no, I said you can
it was either going to be Chuck Norris's character of from Delta Force, or possibly a Braddock from Missing in Action. I mean, those would probably be the two chief ones I probably would have picked.
Sidekicks.
Well, no, I mean, you have to choose the leader. That's where I was going. I was going for the characters, not necessarily the actors. But John Rambo is the epitome of surviving. He's the epitome of a one-man army. I mean, the very first John Rambo, he comes back home. He's trying to find his surviving platoon members, but he finds out that they're all gone, either from accidents or cancer. You know, he's all alone after Vietnam. And what a lot of people don't realize is after Vietnam, soldiers who came back were called baby killers. They were looked at differently. Mm-hmm. And you know, he's just trying to pass through, and he's getting harassed by local police, and it turns into a one-man war against him versus the police and the National Guard.
Brian Dennehy.
Yeah, I mean, then in part 2, he goes back to Vietnam to find some POWs,
which is a setup.
And it was a setup. There's Russians, even corrupt, U.S. military officials. In the third one, he goes to Afghanistan to fight Russians to free people because his commander is taken prisoner. Yep. And then every single Rambo movie, he goes against these unsurmountable odds. People look at him and they don't see what's really there, and he always comes out on top. He always does the right thing. He's just an unstoppable force, but he is also a military mind that can plan the hell out of any situation. So that's why, I mean, to me, he is the leader. There was no other question to me.
Now, I also wanted to just state that when you see the images, and we're gonna I'll describe the images for those of you that are listening to us on the podcast. But the images I chose were of those from either their best film or their current, the most recent one they did. So the Rambo image I found is of John Rambo from the Rambo, the final Rambo movie he just did, where he's like basically retiring the character, where he goes against the cartels. I think it's one of my favorite looks for Rambo because it's like he's seasoned. He's like a grandfather. It looks good.
And he takes a lot of physical damage in that too.
Oh yeah, he gets beat up and shot up, and it's a very sad film.
But I will say this:
it humanized him.
There's a lot of conjecture as to whether that was the final one or not.
No, there isn't, because there's a rumor that he said that he's going to do one more, and I was like, please don't. Just like the Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, just learn to retire, Ric Flair.
You never know. I mean, what I always hoped, if they ever did another one, sidebar on this, I always hoped that if they did do another one, it would be him helping out a soldier who's similar to him at that age.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
I would sign off on that, but
like a sniper, kind of like one shot, one kill.
Special forces who is very similar to him. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. So are we ready for the next one?
All right. So now these are the teammates that we would choose. Now they're not versus each other. I just put 2 to a page because I wanted to have an image so you guys can see. And obviously I'll describe the images for you when we are going through it. So next page, please.
Okay. Now here we are.
All right. So obviously, so now here's where I said Luc Besson. If you guys don't know, Luc Besson is the director, creator. He did Lucy. He has done The Raid Redemption, which is the sequel. He's supposedly working on The Raid 3. He did District 13, B13. He did Taken. He did all the Taken film series, Transporter. So I had to take a character out of there named Yuda, who the actor is Iko Uwais. Iko Uwais is probably one of my favorite up and comings out of the Malaysian action series. He is his most recent movie he did is going to be Expendables 4. He is in Triple Threat with several characters that are of note, and he is just a great actor. I love the stuff that he's done, and the Raid character felt like I needed someone tough that can take orders but knows how to think quick on his feet, and just is a good martial artist, but a good well-rounded fighter. And again, this guy takes an ass whooping in the Raid movies, and it was just like Yuta was just a perfect character. So obviously, the image you see of him is from the Raid 1, and that was a whole scene where he goes. If you guys didn't see the Raid, the premise of the movie, he's a cop that gets sent to a tenement building from the top floor to the bottom. Hey, Archer, my brother from another. He ends up going in there, and it's a drug raid. But then the bust is that they go trying to kill the cops, and he and his force are pretty much left to survive the night.
Wait, isn't it Carl Urban and Judge Dredd?
Oh. Yes, but Judge Dredd we know is more of a
Raid came
sci-fi.
out years before that, though. I know that
exactly. Yeah, the original Raid movie came out. The original Raid movie came out. God, that was like what 2000. Let me just double check my dates because I hate being wrong about this stuff. Because I remember seeing the original Raid on bootleg. So I'll give you guys the date right now. The Raid 1 Redemption. Sorry, the Raid 1 Redemption was 2011, and then the Raid 2 was 2014. So now, obviously, Dave has, yeah, Dredd totally ripped it off, the remake. Dave obviously chose probably one of everybody's favorite, and I knew it was going to make a list. It didn't make mine, but it made Dave's. Dave, explain what your choice.
I mean, come on. I had to choose John Wick. I mean, one, we know Keanu knows how to fight. But John Wick, now, each of my choices are characters that not only are they survivors, not only are they fighters, but each person has it within their skill set and within themselves to adapt to every single situation. Ever since I was a kid, I always went by expect the worst, but if the worst doesn't come, you're not necessarily disappointed. Murphy's Law is the constant in my universe. And that had to be reflected in my team. I mean, come on. My first pick for the leader was John Rambo. Okay? He can make weapons out of anything. He can adapt to every situation. He's fought in every corner of the world. John Wick. You know, the Baba Yaga, the boogeyman, the one who pulls off the impossible missions just so he could find a peace. He loses his wife, and what happens? You get some Russian upstart who decides to steal his car and kill his dog, and that pulls him back into the universe, and he's just on a non-stop mission. And I don't care what anybody says, including Dre. I don't care what anyone says. He's not dead. John Wick is not dead. No, his identity may be dead. John Wick ain't dead. That's all I'm saying. I mean, he can fight with any weapon. I mean, you could have butcher knives, which that was badass when they had that.
A pencil.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Honestly, I think he got that from the Joker.
Yes.
Let me show you a little trick.
Yeah, I can make it disappear. Ta-da!
I mean, John Wick. He's fought all over the world again. Different organizations. I mean, he just
speaks multiple languages.
I mean, think about how much pain, how much torture. Like, his body has been cut, stabbed, and he's still going. He's still fighting. He's on that mission to do whatever it is that he feels he needs to do to try to get back to some kind of peace or some kind of, but he's just unstoppable. When John is on mission, again, yeah, we got John Rambo, we got John Wick. I mean, come on, it's the Johns. What can we say?
Yeah, I mean, there's a theme. Remember, there's a theme going through this.
But both are unstoppable warriors. So that's why I went with John Wick. I mean, he's someone, if he's on mission, he's on mission. There's no stopping it.
Even when he's off mission, he's still on mission.
Exactly.
He's just literally. And this is not me. Again, we are picking teams to handle two different scenarios. So obviously, the image I chose here for, again, those listening on the podcast, is John Wick scene from John Wick 4. When it's early on in the movie. I would say it's, I think, in the first act or second act of the movie. So just so you can have a visual image of the character we're talking about. So let's now move on to our next teammates.
Here we go.
Now here's where
it's the gun show.
Is the gun show, and it was kind of apropos that I chose this because I didn't do this on purpose, but now that I look at it, maybe I did subconsciously. So now there's a caveat to this. Originally, the person I had slotted for this was Sylvester Stallone. But because Dave had already chosen him, it took Rambo off the table. So I had to think of somebody that I really liked, that would suit the role, and that can also adapt to any situation. Literally has fought pretty much anything and everything. And when I say what he fought, you guys would know what I'm talking about. I'll just say the name. Dutch. When I say the word Dutch, everybody knows I'm talking about Schwarzenegger from Predator.
And
this is a man. Go ahead.
You son of a bitch.
You're one ugly MFer.
When him and our boy Action Jackson meet up.
Oh yeah. When they have that little hand clasp.
Yep.
Now, obviously, Schwarzenegger has been great in a lot of roles he's done. This was almost too easy to. I could have picked Last Action Hero. I could have picked, but if I want to stick with the military, I could have gone Eraser. I could have gone Running Man, Total Recall. I could have gone Commando. Conan.
Well, he kind of looks like that in Commando. I'm just saying.
I'm saying this is almost like Conan, like his way, Commando, and here almost were perfect. Just the idea was different. But I needed somebody that fought an alien, that knew how to fight something that could hunt. And I needed somebody with that level of military expert with high explosives, survivability, and could also, if his team got wiped out, would be able to go toe-to-toe with anything. And that's why I chose Dutch.
Yeah.
And one, we're going to see superpowered number one.
But you know what, though? I will say this about that version of Stallone is probably one of the most human.
Schwarzenegger.
I mean, sorry, Schwarzenegger. That's one of the most human Schwarzenegger from the 80s. Because
I don't know. I felt like Commando was a little bit more human because he was going for his daughter, Alyssa Milano.
Hear me out. He showed fear, which we never really saw in Schwarzenegger. Like literally, like he showed the kind of fear when the Predator was hunting for him and he's covered in mud. When he realized, oh wait, man, I'm covered, I'm protected. But before that, he was expecting his end right there, which
you're right.
Says a lot for some of Schwarzenegger's roles. I mean, he was, when I say human, I don't mean like, he shows some emotion. I mean, he was acting like this was really the end of him. So, I mean, that is a great, awesome pick.
Yeah, it was a tough pick for me. Knowing I wanted to pick Schwarzenegger, and it was hard because I wanted to do 9, but then I said no, I'm going to cut it back to 7 members and a leader. So I chose Dutch. Schwarzenegger fit the bill, and now, like I said, we're going to go to Dave's first superpowered choice.
Yeah.
Which, when he said the gun show, folks, when he says who it is, you'll know why he's saying the gun show.
Hugh Jackman, aka Logan, aka Wolverine, because one, he is a soldier too. If you go with Wolverine Origins, he was basically around post-Revolutionary War was when he was a child.
Technically, if you follow the storyline, he was a teenager right at the heart of the Civil War.
Okay. So Civil War.
He was able to fight in the Civil War.
Yeah.
He fought in the Civil War with Sabretooth. Origins.
He has that regeneration factor. So he fought in so many wars. World War I, World War II. He was there during the bomb at Hiroshima. He was in Vietnam. And of course, then he fights the war of mutants versus humankind, and just he's probably one of the best soldiers. And at one point, he even submits to having the adamantium infused into him to make him the perfect weapon. I mean, he's unstoppable. Oh, just about, unless you have an adamantium bullet. I mean, he's just one of those. He's got the. I mean, come on, the healing factor alone. I mean,
military training, healing factor.
He survived an H-bomb.
Yeah, okay. He saved Hiroyuki-san.
Yeah,
he saved him with that getting there.
Literally, he's virtually unstoppable. You could blow up a building, and he could walk right through it. I mean, he'll be in pain and be pissed, but he'll come right through it and regenerate. I mean, he's an unstoppable force, and he's got that rage, that animal rage inside too. He lets that loose. He's probably one of the most unstoppable beings you could come across, other than going cosmic, like Thanos or something like that, you know?
Again, a solid choice. I mean, and we say gun show because both of them are pretty much in shirtless, and if not, they're showing their guns.
But also, I mean, he adapts to every situation. You know, he gets projected from X-Men's Days of Future Past. He gets projected back into the 60s and 70s. You know, he can adapt to any situation because of his healing factor. I mean, he takes on Sentinels. He goes against everyone. I mean, he's definitely one of those people that I view as adaptable. Like, again, that's a common theme in my team, is these are people who can adapt to any situation.
And I was when I looked at the pick, I was like, yeesh, that's a dope pick. Solid for me. Both of them are solid picks on either side of the aisle you walk. But I liked it. Let's go to the next one.
Okay. Next one.
Now, this is obviously, my pick was more superpowered. After seeing Wolverine, I said, damn, he took Hugh Jackman off the table. So I was like, who am I going to pick as a superpowered person that can handle anything, that will maybe want to work with a team, but be able to still be powerful enough to go on par with anyone. And obviously, I'm biased because I love The Rock. So I went with Dwayne Johnson. And yes, I went with Tess Adam, Black Adam from his movie. I mean, the guy was a slave who was given the power of demigods and can fly, nigh invulnerable except to magic. I mean, the dude doesn't have a good attitude and is pretty much as close to an anti-hero as you're going to get, but he cared about his country, and he sort of cared about his teammates, kind of, when they had to fight after they killed Dr. Fate in his movie.
Well, it's more like, you know, he looks out for his allies of the moment.
So I obviously, again, I was going to choose The Rock I could have chosen Hobbs from Hobbs and Shaw, which I did think about. But because I chose this, and then Dave made fun of me again. What Dave, say your quote again that you with my list? It's all about what?
Love family.
We're gonna start here. So 10th Adam.
Okay. Now, mine, I went with Batfleck. I went with Ben Affleck's Batman because I thought as a Batman, he was a pretty good balance. I mean, yes, I could have went with Michael Keaton, but the fact that, like, here's my deciding factor. This was a Batman that was taking down the parademons. When you had Steppenwolf working on behalf of Darkseid to find the mother boxes in Justice League. You know, he was able to actually talk everyone into joining. You know, obviously Diana didn't take a whole lot of convincing because he's Ben Affleck and she's Gal Gadot. So, you know, giggity. And also, I mean, come on, he recruited Flash, although I won't even get into that, guys. You know, he talked Arthur Aquaman into joining, and he was like the most against of it all. I mean, he was more humanized even during Batman v Superman. We see how as Bruce Wayne he was saving people during the battle of Metropolis.
As Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, as Bruce Wayne. I mean, he wasn't like the rich playboy. He was more of a humanized, more down to earth, more grounded. I love that. And I think he was a very good Batman. I would honestly, I know that he's out of it for right now, but should they ever do Return of the Dark Knight, I mean, it's either Peter Weller or him. I don't know if Keaton would be the best choice for that, but I could see him doing it.
And I chose the Batman v Superman Batfleck image because I think that when I thought about Dave's pick, and this is how well I know Dave, I kind of was thinking, I'm like, he's probably going to go for the Doomsday Prepper Batman, the one that saw the Nightmare Batman, saw what happened in the alternate reality with Superman, and needs to prepare, and is the ultimate in an adaptation besides being the world's greatest detective. Now, mind you, I'm completely biased because I love Batman. I love Batfleck. He's my second favorite Batman. And I mean, it's a hell of a choice for knowing that this guy can prepare for any situation and literally get people to work with each other that don't really work with each other. A good second in command of your team.
Yes.
All right, next page.
Okay, guys, kicking it up a notch.
Now, obviously, again, we're sticking with my theme. Now we're going completely on this one. Both sides of the aisles have chosen their second superpowered person. For me, I went with the version of this young lady that was perfect because of what I saw in this movie. So I'm going to say Batman v Superman. Obviously, when I'm saying this woman, y'all know I'm talking about Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Her version of Diana Prince in Batman v Superman was my absolute favorite, next to her portrayal in Wonder Woman. Now, why did I choose this version in particular? She freaking fought with her heart. I don't feel she fought hard in Justice League. I don't feel she fought as hard.
No, we don't talk about 84.
No, I'm not gonna say 84.
84 never happened.
No, I don't count 84 because that's no. I was gonna say in her first film, she didn't fight nearly as hard because she was still coming into her own. This is an established Wonder Woman that's been alive for 70, 80 years at this point, has lived and has loved and has seen what the world can have happen and knows about the different gods, demons, aliens that were on Earth. And she can handle, I mean, she's a demigoddess. She is nigh invulnerable, can fly, has access to millions of dollars. She is an emissary from Themyscira, has an army on Themyscira that will answer for her because she is the daughter of the queen.
Yes.
And she is the daughter, so she's biologically, she is the daughter to not only the queen of Themyscira Hippolyta, she is the daughter of the god of war, Ares.
Yes.
So you can't ask for a better character that knows how to fight, can look good while not doing it, but also is a strategist as well.
Yes.
Again, also Rock and Gal Gadot were also in a similar franchise.
It's
Two
about
franchises,
family.
actually. It's all about family, but they were also in that other movie on Netflix, which was just as good with Ryan Reynolds. So your pick, Dave, and why?
Okay. So I went with Wesley Snipes' Blade. One, because, again, he is a soldier against the war of darkness against vampires. Okay. One, it's Wesley Snipes, so we know he can kick ass. He's a martial, knows all the different martial arts. And besides, he's the one that goes against his own kind. He may be a daywalker, but he is still a vampire, technically speaking, and he goes against his own kind. He's got the weapons. He knows how to use them. He was trained by Whistler, who is a pseudo stepfather to him, who was his only family, and taught him everything. He made sure Blade was trained and knew how to use his skills. The serum, everything. Blade is an unstoppable force. I mean, he's gone against, Deacon Frost in the movies. We've seen him go against Dracula, for Christ's sake. I mean, he's an unstoppable force. And coincidentally, he did appear in the Expendables series.
Yes, he appears in the third one.
Yep. But I mean, Blade, the weapons alone, his skill, he has his own form of regeneration, being a vampire. Against him and if you look at I just thought about this, him and Wolverine are both Marvel characters, both Animal Instincts.
And they're both members of the same team, the Midnight Suns and the Avengers.
Yep. Yes, sir. So, how could you, who is going to see Blade and not run in the other direction, whether you're human or not?
Facts.
So, it's, again, he can face down any situation. Blade 2, he's kind of put in a situation where he has to work with his enemies. He's got to team up with the vampires. But he does it. He goes through any situation and rebounds. Blade Trinity, Whistler's gone and he has to work with a bunch of new upstarts and still finds a balance and even passes some knowledge on. It wasn't the greatest movie, but nonetheless, Blade is a warrior. He is a warrior and he won't stop. Nothing's going to stop him from getting his mission done. So again, every single one I choose, adaptable to any situation.
And most, if not all of them, have all had some sort of military training. So that works. All right, next pick.
Next pick is...
It's about family. All right, folks. Now, here's where we tie my whole thing together. Why I chose this. So obviously the image that you will see here is Dominic Toretto, folks. Yes, Dre went to Vin freaking Diesel from the Fast and Furious series. Why? Every single movie the Expendables has done has one of those guys that can drive anything and does some crazy stuff with it. You had Terry Crews use the boat with Barney driving the boat land the boat on a flatbed truck while it's moving to avoid a bomb going off. They have the motorcyclist in the second one and the third one that's a kid that's crazy, that does like an adrenaline junkie that can do all this crazy stuff with bikes and stuff. You have somebody in every single film. I was like, I need a driver, but I need a driver that's got an edge to him, that will know to put the team and the mission above all. And who better than Vin Diesel? It's all about family. The minute he would see Gal Gadot, Dwayne, on the set, he would be like, hey guys, it's all about family. We're going to make it work. And that's why I had to choose him. Plus Vin Diesel's character, I could have gone to Riddick from Chronicles of Riddick with a Furion. That would have been a dope pick. I could have gone to any of the number of films Vin Diesel has been. I could have gone with Groot as my superpower. I could go any which way with it, but I felt Dominic Toretto was the perfect choice for this team.
Okay, so I went with the Punisher, Thomas Jane. I felt that, to me, he was the Punisher I had to go with, because this is the Punisher when he first became the Punisher. We could have went Warzone, but I felt like this was the Punisher I needed.
I'm not gonna lie, just to cut you, I'm gonna interrupt you here for a second. When I saw this choice, I was like, Thomas Jane, not Bernthal. Bernthal was like the Punisher, dude. That, talk about a resilient, talk about the ass whooping he got in that prison scene fight from
Yes.
season 2 solidified Bernthal as being the number 1 option of Punisher in my mind. So,
well, everyone's entitled to their opinions.
You're right. Even if they are wrong.
And, yeah. Well, we know you're wrong. No, I'm kidding. I mean, to me, this was... I can watch Thomas Jane's Punisher over and over again. With Travolta being the bad guy. One, if you look at Thomas Jane, outside of his Punisher persona, he just looks like somebody's father.
Well, he was in The Fog.
Yeah. Pushed to the limit, I mean, he takes out Big Daddy Cool.
He broke his neck. That was
he did. After making him look like the Toxic Avenger with the hot water.
I'm saying.
I mean, again, he is someone that plans things out. I mean, yes, Joe Barenthal, you give him some weapons, he's an unstoppable person. Thomas Jane, I mean, he made little like emergency weapons. Like he would bang the side of a table or a cabinet, and a little knife would come out in a tray so he could pull a knife. I mean,
Doom Prepper. He was your Doom Prepper Punisher.
Yes.
Okay.
He was our Doom Prepper. I mean, he keeps on going and going. I mean, this is the Punisher that I felt was like more grounded in reality. And I'm sure I'll get hate for that, again, with the Joe Barenthal. But this one felt more grounded to me.
I'm not going to say I don't hate. I think that for me, I felt Barenthal was... And I'm a girl dad, and he lost a daughter, and a lot of what you saw him fight... I mean, he was fighting guys like Fisk. He was fighting Wilson Fisk, man. The freaking Kingpin. And the Kingpin himself is a little bit of a superpowered villain. And he was throwing that ass whooping around left and right. And he was still bloodied, broken, beaten up, and still going. Like, to me, that's the iron heart that he has. Like, it was just so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But in the military training, like, I felt like there was an edge between him and Ray Stevenson.
Yeah.
Because I felt like their characters had a lot more.
Well,
and even Lundgren as well.
Thomas Jane, he quotes, I forgot what it's actually called, but it was like a prayer or something that his drill sergeant drilled into him and his fellow soldiers, the pocket, something parabellum. And it shows like his training never went away. It's always with him. And even though and especially in his Punisher movie, there are times when humans, the other people are trying to form attachments with him, but he's resistant against it. But when they're in trouble, that's when he goes all out to kick the asses of the bully. I mean, just like, to me, it's just that shouts a soldier right there. Now, I think Barenthal's Punisher knows from military training to when to cut your losses, so to speak, to a certain extent.
Oh, yeah.
He would accept collateral damage, whereas this Punisher wouldn't.
And I can agree with that. And
So,
I feel like Stevenson.
That's another reason why I went with him.
And I feel like Stevenson's would as well because of everything he did in Warzone.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Okay, I'm with that.
Okay.
All right. And so the images I chose were Fast and Furious Dom from, I think this one was Fast 8, the Fate of the Fast and Furious. And the image I chose was Thomas Jane when he's about ready to go fight Big Daddy Cool Diesel, who's the Russian.
A big blonde Russian in a striped shirt. Looked like Where Waldo on crack.
Yeah, looked like Where's Waldo and Popeye had a baby with Bluto. So, next. Okay, now this is an interesting pick on both parts. Just because of what I felt worked for this. And I needed somebody that can do all the tech. So why wouldn't I go with somebody like Iron Man? Because to me, the Iron Man suit would give him too much of an edge and make him a superhero, because the Iron Man suit literally is a super weapon. So I went with somebody who I have a great deal of respect for, and I love the actor, and I love his portrayal of his son's of the character for his son in Batwoman. So yes, I'm talking about Lucius Fox from the Nolan Batman series, which was Morgan Freeman.
Yep.
So why do I like Morgan Freeman? He defended Bruce Wayne.
Morgan Freeman.
It's Morgan Freeman, the guy that I want him to narrate my life. I love him. But
come on, we all want him to do GPS. Come on.
Exactly.
Turn left.
You know, exactly. You've gone too far. That'd be like, that's like a friggin'
Walken. Hey.
You've gone too far. You need more cowbell. But Lucius Fox in the first Batman movie for the Nolan films knows that Bruce Wayne's a little bit of a weirdo. An eccentric would be probably the correct term. And he knew all, and spelunking, you know, is it a spelunking in a war zone? You know, and he was able to create and perfectly fit the technology that Bruce Wayne / Batman would need for any situation and even eventualities, thinking outside of the box. Because he then creates the Batwing suit for his son, which they use in the cartoon series as well as they used in the television series. And I love that idea that Lucius Fox, in all 3 of the Batman movies, eventually takes over Wayne Tech and realizes that the tech is dangerous and knows when to destroy it. So he knows when the tech is too invasive, but he also knows when the tech is needed to be helpful and how to put in protocols to save it.
Yeah.
But he also thinks outside the box, and he's willing to put himself at personal life risk to do that, which is good. Which I think everybody on my team has that goal, that mindset of that they'll defend each other, but they'll go above and beyond. So that's why I chose Lucius Fox.
Okay, so I chose Ellen Ripley. I mean, she is
classic choice.
I mean,
I wouldn't have expected anybody else than for him not to pick her.
I mean, for one, the Alien series, I mean, she survived how many different onslaughts? I mean, but one, she was a pilot. She's a technical person. She knows how to work the loaders in Aliens.
She's an engineer.
Yeah, I mean, you talking about a tech person. She's our tech person. She's our pilot. She can even, she even gets smart and says, hey, I'm going to take a couple different rifles, flamethrower, grenade launcher, machine guns, and I'm going to duct tape them together so I have one big massive blaster that's going to take on anyone, take out anything. I mean, there's that. And also, she, there you go. You got the picture of her with Newt, the young girl that they find on the colony. She has time to be a surrogate mother. She is someone that has faced nightmares, unspeakable horrors after the first film, and then she's being terrorized by nightmares, and she says, you know what, fine, I will go ahead and go on your damn fool mission for the corporation. And she goes on this mission, and she's a civilian amongst all these Marines, but then again, she's the one to survive. I mean, we kind of have Hicks kind of surviving, but eventually he dies in early on in 3. Same thing with the Bishop android. She's the one that survives.
Mm-hmm. That's Ripley, also because of the 7 years. Because it's supposed to be, what was it? She was in cryostasis for 7 years between the first Alien to Aliens, and then she was in stasis again for another 10 plus years. Yeah. When they left the planet again after they went back into Aliens to Aliens 3. And then I forgot how long it had been between Aliens and 4. I mean, how long the time had been?
Whether it's her,
he was cloned in the 4th.
Whether it's her clone, Ellen Ripley is an unstoppable force. She has no superpowers. She doesn't have.
Her clone had superpowers. Don't lie. Her clone was part alien.
No, but herself though.
Yeah, her
clone was spliced with alien DNA.
The Queen DNA. So she was legit badass.
I mean, for the first few movies, that it's just her. You know, it is her at her core. She's just a human being, yet she has no military training either. You know, she's a pilot and she has a rank in the corporation, but that's it. And she is a survivor. She's adapting to different situations, whether on a ship or on planets. She adapts and she doesn't give up. She's scared as hell. She's not afraid to show it, and she uses that fear. She takes it inward and she uses it.
Another one that can think on the fly too.
Yes. And technically, this would classify another Marvel character, so to speak, because Marvel Comics did run Aliens.
Well, they're currently book. Well, they're not. The Dark Horse Comics owned it. Marvel just has started running it.
But it is Fox.
It's on its fourth iteration or fourth volume, and they haven't done the Ripley character. They haven't talked about her yet. So they mentioned her briefly, I think, in the first series, because that takes place closer to her timeline. But it's the latter three have all been after Ripley.
And you and I have had this conversation before. I mean, no matter what certain actresses out there say about being, the first action heroes.
Oh no, we both agreed that it's between her and Linda Hamilton. Like, they're the two that you can choose as being the first women of. You can't. I'm not going to talk about Barbarella. I'm not going to try to talk about Eartha Kitt or any of them, because they were trailblazers in their own right. But you cannot with Ripley. Ripley was the first franchise super heroine right there. So she's when people think Aliens, you think Sigourney Weaver.
Yes, you do.
You don't think anybody else. All right. So this is the final two for us, right? So I needed somebody that was that sniper that can handle the long range shooting, that can handle military, that can be calm under pressure, but can adapt to any situation, which a sniper has to. But in the same breath, I needed a guy that's going to be young, that's going to be aggressive, and be able to defend the team and know that the mission has to go to be solved and follow through. So I chose Bob Lee Swagger. Folks, if you don't know where that name is from, you did not watch the movie Shooter or the Shooter television show. And I absolutely love Mark Wahlberg in this role. I think that for me, I would have chosen his character from Four Brothers if I didn't need a sniper. But I chose this character. Or no, I would have chosen his military character from a scientist character from Transformers, because he did really good in that one too. But I needed somebody that did not have access to some high level of tech. I wanted somebody that was, again, grassroots, that if we put tech in his hands, he can make it work. And in Shooter, if you guys didn't see the movie, brief synopsis, he's a military trained sniper that is extremely successful, extremely well known for what he can do, and having the furthest shot, he ends up getting betrayed and the government disavows him. And they go on the movie, basically it's him escaping being caught. So, the TV show is, I think, just as good. Hey, Steven, what's good, brother? And, I absolutely love it. I love the idea. I love the concept of his character. Again, Mark Wahlberg has done so many different movies that this was the best version of his character that I would want to round out my team.
Okay.
Now, obviously, Dave's final pick. I mean, again, his team's iconic. I said his team's full of heavy hitters. Do I want to say MVPs? Possibly. But can I say Mount Rushmore? Can I say at least 3 of his people would be on a Mount Rushmore out of 4? Because I have his 4th one. Because no one's going to say Schwarzenegger would not be on an action hero freaking Mount Rushmore.
Now, Bruce Willis, I chose Detective John McClane. Again, another character that can improvise from situation to situation to situation. He's, the first movie, he goes out to the coast to see his wife, or his estranged wife. Terrorists take over the Nakatomi Towers, and it's him against all these terrorists. I mean, it's just
Hans
him
Gruber.
with no shoes on broken glass.
Tape feet.
Yeah. I mean, he, and by the way, little tidbit, one of the terrorists that he takes out is Vigo the Carpathian.
Also, don't forget, the brother later on in the third movie is Jeremy Irons, who is our boy, Alfred.
Yeah. Also, he takes out the sidekick, the partner to Chuck Norris.
Which partner?
The black guy who's hacking the locks of the vault.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
But he also
was
killed
Trevette.
Snape. But he also killed
Trevette.
Snape. And he killed Snape.
Yep. And let's
So
not
then-
forget that his wife knocks out Walter
Fine
Peck from
Bedelia.
Ghostbusters and so many other movies.
Trevette, yep. Look
Yep.
at Steven going with the MVP.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, whether it's terrorists in, an office building, an airport during Christmas,
City, New York
a
City.
heat wave in New York City paired up with Sam Jackson, who is a bit racist towards them. I mean,
not Jesus. My name's
or-
not Jesus. It's
or in
Zeus.
Washington D.C. during blackouts,
or Russia.
or Russia to save his son. I mean, there's nowhere.
and the untitled and now scrapped last Die Hard film that never will come out.
Correct, because of his
Frontal
his
dementia,
health,
frontal
yes.
temporal dementia.
But I mean, there's no one else I was going to choose. I mean, he adapts to every situation. The odds are against him, but he adapts and he comes through. He gets things done. Okay, whether it's psychological madmen or just megalomaniacal, power-hungry people. I mean, and plus he's got one-liners left and right.
He really
If you
does.
need a one-liner, he's got it.
That's why I said he's on the Mount Rushmore. Like, Dave has 3 members that you could easily say would be on a Mount Rushmore
Yes.
of action heroes of the 80s and 90s. Like,
And-
you have no soul if you don't put Bruce Willis and Sylvester Stallone on a freaking Mount Rushmore.
And coincidentally, one of my favorite movies of his, Last Boy Scout. Don't judge me. It's one of my
That's
favorites.
a good movie. That's a good movie.
But I mean, like I said before, each of my guys, each member on my team can adapt to any situation. Now, again, I chose these guys. Yes, moonlighting. Don't forget moonlighting. Death Becomes Her. I mean, he's been in so many different things that, Hudson Hawk. That's a favorite of mine.
Oh god, that movie's terrible.
But it's a guilty pleasure of mine. I don't care. And I used
Now
to
you-
do the timing of the music. I would do that with more modern music back when I was a DJ. So I knew how long I had before I needed to get back to the booth. But again, each of these characters, each of these members, they adapt. Now, I chose these characters before reading Dre's plots for this. The 2 missions that we have, either to take down Ultron or to go through the multiverse and hunt down the Joker. So, I mean, personally speaking, I think my team would be the team to go through the multiverse because they can handle any situation. And Dre's got some big guns with Wonder Woman
and Black
and
Adam.
Black Adam. And I mean, come on, we got Dutch with the firepower. I mean, you got people who can take on an army of robots. I'm just throwing
Lucius
that out
Fox.
there.
Like,
I'm just throwing that out there.
And see, here's the funny part. Like, if you flip the script on it, I feel like Ultron can't adapt to a Wolverine or a Blade or a Batman nearly as fast as the Joker having to deal with a god and 2 demigods. I got 2 demigods on my team. But the Joker, he doesn't have magic. But what if the Joker went to the multiverse and pulled the Batman Who Laughs, which is the evil Joker.
How do you
A
know
Batman,
he does not have powers?
you know, exactly. How do we know that the Joker doesn't decide
I mean,
to find a multiverse?
hypothetically speaking, if the Joker's crossing through different realms, who's to say it's not like a situation like The One? What if he went to the other dimensions, the other universes, killed the other
Chill off and
Jokers,
get the
and
power?
started getting
Ooh.
power?
That would have been a good scenario. Now wait, let me answer Steven's question. Steven, no, none of us chose a Power Ranger, sir. We all chose.
Because I'm going to
They
say
weren't. Jason,
Well-
David, Frank would have been both of us our choices. Let's just agree that we would have both chosen them.
Well, I'm going to say this. One, this is the Expendables, which means you're going to have to kill. You have to kill. You have to destroy.
Psycho Pink.
You have to do what's needed. So, as far as picking a ranger, you would have had to have picked like Lord Draken or the Ranger Slayer or some variation of some of these. There's different ranger sets in the Boom comic universe, but this was live action. We were restricted to live action movies, not anything animated and nothing that appeared on TV.
Yeah, we had to limit ourselves again because the broad strokes we would have gone for. You're looking at, you could have gone with comic book versions of these characters. Why would I have not chosen Superman? Psycho Green, Ranger Slayer would have been my choice. If he chose Draken, I would have chosen Ranger Slayer. I mean, Ranger Slayer is the right hand to Draken, and Draken kills, but Ranger Slayer went and hunted Rangers and killed Rangers. So that's the reason why we didn't choose that. I would have chosen I could have chosen Kamen Rider but then the thing is that's going international, and I didn't want to go too far out of the realm.
We set restrictions of as far as we also restricted to 2 superpowered beings.
Yeah, we could have easily made a freaking group of superheroes. I could have had Captain America. I could have had Thanos. Boom. Get rid of everything. So we had to be realistic and limit the parameters, which as any good scientist knows, you have to set yourself into your field of parameters to make sure that the experiment goes well. Because if you start adding too many other things, all these variables can play into it against you. And much like a good fantasy football team, you can have a stacked team, but if somebody gets injured, that's all she wrote. So that's why we chose the actors we chose. And I wanted this to be like kind of an experiment for us to do. No, we didn't. And I mentioned I should have picked Spawn when we started. I should have picked them. Actually, the other person I would have picked possibly would have been Bloodsport. Or not Bloodsport, Bloodshot. Vin Diesel's character, Bloodshot. Because he's pretty much damn near unstoppable. But Spawn would have been the perfect choice. A military trained
I did consider
leader of hell.
Deadpool. But I went no. I mean,
he's too much of an X factor in and of himself. Like, I would have had him change sides. If he joined, he would have went against, killed the Joker, and then traveled the multiverse, kill himself, and get all the powers, because he's traveled the multiverse himself.
I mean, there's a lot of characters we could have went down. I mean, because it's live action, huh?
Could we not Ezra Miller, but if we could have gone to TV, Grant Gustin's Flash, Stephen Amell. How many people were on our team? So we had 7 soldiers.
8 people, 1 leader, and 7 soldiers.
So you would have had 8 in total. That's how we came up with that. And the number was actually going to be higher at one point. Dave and I had looked at 10, and then I looked at like 7, and then I felt like the best way to kind of meet. It feels like a tabletop. That's exactly how we did it. I viewed it as, what role does each person fit into? How would they do well in the scenarios I presented to Dave and myself and to you guys? Because I felt like, hey, Lex Luthor creates a device that can cross the multiverse. Joker steals it. Ultron goes into LexCorp and starts taking it over. Who is going to be sent? Which team do you send to which situation? I mean, I feel like Dave's team might be a little bit more stacked to deal with the Joker because they'll kill him. Like there is no compunction to stop us a sadistic madman. Where my team would want to subdue and probably have to kill Ultron for the fact that Ultron would be having duplicates of himself, and you need tech wizards to deal with that, and you have 2 on my team. But at the same breath, you still need a group of heroes that can stop it. So I think that this experiment was really fun. I'm loving the audience participation. So now what you guys are going to get the opportunity to do is to go on to our socials, because it's on Instagram. It's not on there yet, but Dave and I are going to try to figure out how to get it on there. But if you go to our YouTube community tab, if you go to Twitter, it is on there, and you guys can participate in the poll. I say we leave the polls open till at least Sunday. That gives you guys more than enough time. And since this is our, drumroll please, 10th episode, we will be uploading the next batch to Spotify. Now, I did want to mention this. I did a little bit of more research and digging, and one of my friends, Brainiac would have been a good choice too. I would, if I had gone to TV, if I did TV, I could have picked them. I did do a little bit of deep diving, and I came across some more sites. So the podcast may be out on a couple more different platforms. I don't want to keep like diluting us and putting us out too much. I felt like Spotify was a good one, but I may throw us on a couple other ones. And Dave is going to upload these next 5 by tomorrow night. Give them a little bit. Don't stress them. They'll be up by tomorrow
night. We'll see.
We'll see. If not, before the weekend. Let's just put it that way. Before the weekend's up, you will have the next 5 episodes up. So if you are strictly listening to us on the podcast, we thank you. We appreciate you. If you are listening to us and you want to, if you're watching us,
schedule now.
Oh no! I am not.
I need to speak with the supervisor about that.
Yeah, I'm the manager too. I guess you got to talk to me later after the show. Ultimately we said like we want to try to get these up for you as quickly as possible. When it's one episode, it's easy. But when we do batches take time. And Dave has, his wife. He has to spend his quality time with his wife, and
I don't know about that, but
but at the same breath, I want him to not be stressed, and I don't want him to, we split the load on the social medias that we control for this particular podcast, and we are looking to grow a little bit bigger, but not too big. So that's why when I found the other platforms, Dave and I discussed it. So again, we appreciate you listening, but if you watch it, you can listen to it for free on YouTube, and you can listen to it for free on Spotify. So there are some other places we can do, and we're going to figure that out. But now it's your opportunity to go on those community tabs and into our socials and check us out. Tell us which team do you think would best handle either situation. I personally feel I could handle Ultron and I could handle the Joker, but Dave feels
it's about bragging rights.
This is the bragging rights thing. Just so you know, this is the bragging rights thing. Dave feels he can go to the multiverse and deal with the Joker. I think the Joker is smart enough to outsmart Dave and kill his team, but the Joker can also outsmart me and kill my team.
How's he going to outsmart and kill Wolverine?
Easily. Wolverine, if he can't regenerate if his head's chopped off.
And like you said before, none of my, pretty much most of my team would not hesitate killing the Joker.
Oh no! The minute they know he's a psychopath, he's gone. It's like it's a done deal. Done deal. So we want you guys to participate in this. Tell us who you would pick for what mission, and based on that percentage, we'll mention it before we do our show next Wednesday. We'll mention it then and see what you guys we'll actually tabulate it and let you guys know. I think this is a fun experiment. If you guys like us doing more things like this, Dave and I have talked about briefly adding things like this in, sprinkled in here and there. Like I mentioned it here now, and it hit me. I never thought to think about what our Mount Rushmore of action heroes would look like. But then again, I feel like you'd have to tailor make a Mount Rushmore for each decade, because the thing is, you can't look at a Mount Rushmore for the 90s without looking at the 80s, because the 80s influenced a lot of the 90s. But in the 2000s, you have almost a totally different crop of actors that would make that list.
And I'm going to say this. Maybe in the future, we flip this, turn it and reverse it, where we make it that there's two major heroes, and we need expendable versions, villain versions of the Expendables. We'll throw that out there. That could be something kind of like a Suicide Squad murder team to try and take out two massive heroes.
Hey, I got an idea. We did the Expendables. Do you guys want us to do a Suicide Squad? Who would our Suicide Squad be, and fighting against some sort of crazy, I'll come up with a scenario for it, some crazy either hero turned bad,
or someone that just pissed off Amanda Waller, let's be honest.
Yeah, or, because Amanda Waller don't give a shit about nobody. But
she wants to take out Batman.
Exactly. How would you do it? So, if you guys like that idea, please comment in the comments right now that are live. Please comment after the video. Let us know if that's something that you want to see us do. I mean, now that Dave mentioned it, I kind of do want to do it. So we may throw that in. That might be something we do.
Maybe I'm Brainiac. Just saying.
Starro was a damn good villain. But what about Darkseid? Like true Darkseid. That would be a great villain to want to have to deal with, because he's a problem in and of himself. So I think that we did a great job on this. I really commend Dave for doing a dope setup for this. I love the fact that we got together, put our brains together to this one. But what do you guys think? What do you think would work? Whose team would not just reign supreme, but whose team really could handle either one or both scenarios and be successful? So please let us know. And you know where to catch us. We are on Twitter at the Outer Dim Pod. That's where we are on Twitter. You can find us on IG under the Outer Dimension
Instagram.
Podcast.
Yep.
You can find us through our email at
the Outer Dimensions Podcast at gmail.com.
And you can find Dave on his personal at.
Well, you guys can message me on Instagram at Daves_Dimension. You can also find me at DavesDimension78 at gmail.com. And of course, Dave's Dimension on YouTube. Just like Drake can be found at
the Collector Safe Space on my YouTube, which is the Collector Safe Space. You can find me at Dre of the Collector Safe Space on IG. You can find me on Twitter at the Collector Safe Space. And you can find me here as well, because this is our show. So either which way, if you want to get in touch with Dave, you can get in touch with me. Yep. We are not. We haven't really gone into Facebook, and I don't think we will. I think we have enough social medias to manage, and adding another one would just be more of a pain in the ass. Not saying we wouldn't if we got big enough. Yes, we would do that to help manage it. But we do have a Discord, the Collector Safe Space Discord, which I may make an Outer Dim Pod little thing that you guys can go to and see just links for our Spotify there, which I didn't think about that till now. So I'll add that in tonight. And hey, Legacy of Nerd, good to have you in. You're catching us at the tail end of our show, but that's all right. You can always catch us on the replay, which again, we love you guys watch. If you guys, we all know that life, it just gets away from us. We have families, we have work, we have other extenuating circumstances. So if you guys have to catch us on the replay, we still appreciate it. Throw a comment in there. Just let us know what you guys thought of it. This was a fun experiment. I love that Dave was and I'm going to give him his due. Dave was the one that came up with this idea. as well as he came up with the idea for the, for the Suicide Squad, which I think is going to be a great idea for us to do the Suicide Squad one as
Yes,
well.
sir.
So now
And
we just have to figure out.
by the way, Dre, what do you have coming up on Collector Safe Space?
Oh Lord Jesus! This week pretty much.
Whoa, you got Jesus coming on?
Yeah, you didn't
Wow.
know. I had to go. I had to pray real hard.
I hear he's got a really tough agent.
Oh, he does, man. God don't play. No, this week we are actually taking a bit of a break because I needed a week to kind of get back to being acclimated from the con and trying to get everything situated and plan. So I know that some of the people I was looking to interview, they're setting up to go to a convention next week, so they're extremely busy this week and next week. So next week I think I'm gonna film. I have to go through the video footage and edit GalaxyCon footage. So that's the big one. I want to review it because we actually had a really good time and we're going to be going next year. I do have a couple of reviews because I did get my first Mythic Legion, which right here, Sun Wukong. I posted some very cool pictures of him on social media.
That's
So
right.
I'll be doing a review.
He's joined the Mythic Legions now.
I've joined what is aptly called the Cabal, and I love it. And I have Cosmic
Not to be
Legion.
confused with the Mortal Kombat character.
Yes, and I cannot lie, I do have Cosmic Legion. So I have the Mythic and the Cosmics, which I have to do reviews for. And yeah, that's pretty much the plan right now that I have. There's been a lot of like news, but I'm not really going to be doing any new stuff. I think I'm just going to film some stuff and edit some video, and that's it. That's what I got. What do you got going on this week?
Well, I dropped 2 videos today. We dropped. I dropped my reaction to the Flash, which I finally watched last night. So if you guys want a good laugh and hear somebody rant, that's available on my YouTube channel, Dave's Dimension. I also did a video review of the Crimson Bat from G.I. Joe Classifieds. And as you guys can see right here, I still have a stack of figures that I need to unbox and do reviews for. I have a couple Marvel Build-A-Figure waves that I need to unbox. Waves that have been out, but I'm going to give my little point of views on it. I also have Ninja Turtles that I need to open up. I got a lot coming through the pipeline, and that's going to be coming soon.
Yes.
Trey also got a few things.
I have 2 boxes. I have to literally, he sent it out to me yesterday or Monday.
Monday.
And it got here today, folks. And it is a humdinger of awesomeness. I cannot wait to crack them both open and show off what I got, because I think Dave kind of got me with the bug of wanting to customize, and what he got himself, I now have one, and I'm thinking I may do a customization on it. I haven't figured out what yet.
Yeah, I need to work on the engine a little bit, if that gives anyone some hints.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, the Fortnite boat is the boat that we're talking about, and the boat is a kit basher's dream.
Yeah, mine, they're in pieces right now.
So Dave, I know Dave has been posting it to social media, so you can see the images that he's working on. I know that he's also doing Gunpla now, so expect some more of him putting all that fun stuff back together. So I do have a couple of things I got too that I have to do some reviews on, besides the Mythic and the Cosmic Legions. I do have some McFarlane stuff I want to review, and some Spider-Man Marvel Legends to review. But other than that, yeah, I mean, there's nothing. I know that it's crazy. There's not right now. It's a good time to be an action figure collector because a lot of the cool SDC stuff is starting to ship. But at the same time, it's a rough time to be an action figure collector, because I feel like, and this is something I saw recently on social media, which I think I'm gonna post a video about it to discuss it, which is being a collector now at the height of a recession is rough, because prices aren't going down, and people are less and less getting access to these things, and more scalpers are grabbing them and raising their prices. Companies are holding items.
Yes.
Companies are companies are not also releasing items as regularly as we thought. Like before, we used to see figure lines, Marvel figure lines, you get like maybe 10 a year. But because of what's going on with the screen actors and what's going on with just the shipping industry and everything else, we have so many
Yeah.
delays. You know, people aren't seeing the McFarlane stuff hit.
Well,
People
I
aren't seeing
I
certain
will say
things.
this. Don't sleep on your discount stores. Like I have Ollie's. That's how I was able to get the Fortnite boats for $15 only, 14.99. And
84.99 is what they used to retail for.
yes, so I got that for $15 at Ollie's. But also, I got now. I'm not a fan of Thor: Love and Thunder, the movie, but there is the Build-A-Figure set because I wanted a Korg, and a few of the figures are pretty decent. I got these for what $9.99, $10 a piece. I got the entire wave.
24.99.
Okay, so there we go. I mean, it's your clearance spots. I found Power Rangers there. I found Star Wars Black Series figures and archive figures there too. So looking at some of your was it Books a Million down south and a few others.
We have Books a Million, but we've also got this new thing, which I know Art was talking about it on his channel a lot, and I think it's kind of cool. It's called here where I live. It's called Where You Been, BIN, and it's like every day they lower the prices, but it's things from major retailers, Amazon, Walmart, and
Closeouts, basically.
all the like basically these are things that were damaged, like brand new. So you can find. I'll use an example here. I'll grab this since I have it because she was damaged. Look, like this is Jessica Drew, Marvel Legend, right? So say if this whole thing was like completely ripped off or broken, you would find this at a Where You Been for $6
Mm-hmm.
if you go on the right day. These are things that people are starting to go to because the mass retailers are not putting these out because the resets for these happened 2 weeks ago.
And there's some of us that played a long game, and now it's slowly starting to pay off.
Yeah, I mean, most people are saying you
Might
can
still miss
find.
out on a few things, but it is what it is.
I've heard rumors from people in other states that Ollie's are already. People have seen the what was it? The Ant Man wave, not the Ant Man wave. It was the Ant Man wave. The Ant Man wave already on clearance at an Ollie's. Now, is that true? I don't know because Target just finished their resets in my area, and now they're starting to carry the Ant. They only had two of the figures, but these are things that you can look at long distance and long term. Now, why are we using this to discuss on this part of the channel? Again, we like Hey Archer said on his channel, 100% we do not want to talk about what's coming out brand new in theaters because we do support our
And
brothers and sisters.
and that's
In
never been part of our premise either. Not necessarily
exactly,
talking about new stuff. I mean, with the Writers Guild strike and the Actors strike in solidarity with that, um, you know, our channel, we have plenty to talk about because we talk about past movies, we talk about past projects. We're not talking about anything that's new or that would go into production. That's just not something that we're gonna, step on anyone's toes, so to speak. And plus, honestly, there's about a million more channels out there that would be discussing that kind of content. So we don't necessarily want to regurgitate the same old stuff. You
exactly. You
know,
guys can go listen. Our brother, Hey Archer, you can go to Nerd Affiliated. He does all that stuff. That's his speciality. I will never poop on anybody else's channel. I will always tell you, hey, if we don't do it, go speak to them. Go look at their channel. He does great shorts. We can tell you Legacy of Nerd. If you want to find anything out on the Power Rangers scenario, what's going on, he is the dude to go talk to. You want to hear anything about Ghostbusters news, Dave's Dimension. You want to hear about anything going on in the realm of Star Wars, General Kenobi's bunker. We will always give the credit where it's due because we do the due diligence on this channel to make sure the information is correct and it's coming from a viable source. So that's how we do it. And I appreciate the time that you guys take to listen to us rant and do our silliness. But even this it took me like an hour and a half to get all the pictures together, to do the setup, and My wife was actually watching me do it. She's like, "My God, how did you figure that out?" I'm like, just you figure it out. So these are just some of the projects that we work on, and we're just telling you like, hey, be mindful. You know, make sure you're looking at the other channels and support folks. I know it's going to sound really stupid, and I want to say this. Um, the I'm trying to figure out how I want to word this. The group that we founded is a premise on community, and everything I have done is not for personal gain. It is for the benefit of the channel in the sense of the community. If I can make sure somebody in the community needs help, I will help them. Male, female, whatever I don't care about your preference. It's just that's what we do. And that's something that I wanted to just kind of put out there. You know, I know that it doesn't always come back with a great investment, but that's kind of what we do. You give in the sense that you hope that the karmic wheel will come back to you. That's what I believe. I believe in karma 100%. I put out good energy into the world, it'll come back to me. Am I expecting it tomorrow? No. It will come when it's supposed to. So don't if you guys are looking for quick fixes to like, oh, there are channels out there for that. You guys can go watch them. We here are about supporting our community, supporting each other, and getting the stick with the content because the content is where it's at. So that's my spiel. I get off my soapbox because I know that was a bit of a soapbox, but I felt
That's
like I
his
needed to say it.
story, and he's talking and he's sticking to it, guys. But Dre, why don't you tell everybody what we're doing next week?
Crap, I forgot what we're doing next week. I haven't started that cheat sheet yet, so I didn't look at it. Next week should be crap. I don't know where my notebook is. What was next week?
I'm
I actually have to
checking
think about
my
it because my
pad
notebook is
right
not
now.
easy. Yes, since I moved my desk, folks, just in case y'all didn't know, my desk is no longer in the corner it used to be. That's my couch, so I apologize. And you can see the bunch of crap I have on the couch that's like toys I gotta
Oh,
sell.
were we gonna do another round of Multiverse of King?
Yes, we're doing the Multiverse of King next week. All right, so
Oh,
that
Multiverse
one.
of Stephen King.
All right, now this one so when we did, we talked. I forgot what movie it was. When we talked about the one of Stephen King's movies, I think it was The Dark Tower. That was the introduction of a multiverse. Now, obviously, the live action Dark Tower breaks into the whole concept of the multiverse. So we're going to talk about the Dark Tower, which is a great comic book series and a great movie. We're going to talk about Doctor Sleep, and there was two other movies in there. The Talisman, which I never saw, and it's on Tubi, so I have to watch it on Tubi. And then I forgot the other movie. So it was Doctor Sleep, um, The Dark Tower, Talisman, and there's a fourth movie in there. I forgot what it is. But those are the movies that are kind of tied into each other. And there's a lot of mention in The Dark Tower of each of these movies, as well as other movies that he's done. So it's kind of a cool little homage. And there's been a belief that people actually said that Stephen King created his own multiverse, and this is why you see a lot of crossover with characters, powers, and whatnot. So I'm excited. I love Stephen King. He's one of my favorite authors. So,
Well, you know he loves prisons
um, yes,
with
he does.
Shawshank and Green Mile.
Well, Shawshank wasn't his. Green Mile was his.
I thought he had something to do with Shawshank.
Mm,
I'm pretty sure.
nope. I have to double check that, but I know for a fact that he, with Green Mile, he had his hands in it, and I know that his son is into the more supernatural side of horror. So Joe Hill is more into like that suspense, like the alien effect. So like if you for those of you that never heard of Joe Hill, that's his son. He did the series DC Black Label series called The Plunge. He did Basket Full of Heads, which was awesome. He did Refrigerator Full of Heads, which is the sequel series, equally as awesome. And he's done a couple other dark series that I really love. Does he have his hands in it? There he go. Oh wow, he wrote it. Okay,
What
I
was
did
that?
not know that. Hey, listen. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I totally gotta rewatch that now that I know he has a hand in it.
See,
but yeah, so King is always, and he's mentioned in
nothing more disturbing than humanity, folks.
One of the things that I do know that King mentions in his book is that he does have this like penchant, this love for having crossover where out there without it being so obvious. He's not very heavy-handed in it, which I like. It's not like Shamalama Ding Dong when he's done his crossovers, or even other IPs that have done it. He's very subtle, and I like that. So this will be a fun one for me. I know Dave and I have both talked about our love of Stephen King, so it'll definitely be fun. So tune in for us next week from 8 to 9:30 ish. We usually try not to go over. Today we're not actually going to go over too much because we're actually staying within our time. And again, if you guys want, follow us on Spotify. We should have the episodes up, like I said, by this weekend. And I have to now work on a new cheat sheet, and I'm going to create like a multiversal map so you guys can see kind of the idea of what King has said that his multiverse is. And if you guys are interested in us kind of deep diving these things, like I said, I love doing lore videos. It is something Dave and I have talked about doing on this channel, like going into the lore of a particular series. So if that's something that interests you guys, please comment, question, drop an email. Let us know what you guys want, because we are, like I said, we are willing to shift our schedules around, which we have, to do these sorts of things. Like that Mount Rushmore is calling to me, and I might want to try to get that done before the end of the summer.
You do that.
Oh, please. That'd be fun to do. We take like 3 decades. We choose like the 70s, the 90s, and the 2000s. I guarantee you would not see the same people on each of those. You might see crossover for both of us on that, but I guarantee you won't see a lot. You'll see actors different for each time period.
So, any final words?
Not in the face.
And on that note, we cue the music, guys. From the Outer Dimension podcast, this has been Dave and Dre, and we just want to wish you guys an awesome week. Stay positive. You can always catch us on our individual channels. And don't forget to check out our community tab beginning probably beginning tomorrow. And I'm like Dre said, I'm going to try and get the podcast uploaded as quickly as possible. But until next time,
watch your head on the way out of the portal, folks.
And we'll catch you on the flip side. Take care.